Kids Playground.
Hooray!
This is the Darren Harris Podcast. Here's your host, Darren Harris.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the show. My name is Darren Harris, and this is the Darren Harris Podcast. I appreciate you joining me again this week. Today, I will be discussing where we go from here and what courses of action can people take who didn't like the result of the election. I am one of those people, and I'm not going to pull any punches about it. And if you listen to my podcast, you would know that I don't really pull too much punches about how I feel about the president-elect. And, I'm not one of these guys who was a apprentice bandwagoner or somebody who knew about Donald Trump from being, from watching television. I've known about Donald Trump since I was a kid because I'm from where he's from. And as the country can see, many New Yorkers feel like I feel. And that's why it's still staunchly blue. It is a staunchly blue area. All of New England is blue. And the reason being is because it's always been one of the strongholds. But it's blue for another reason. It's blue because the people in New York don't buy into or didn't buy into what Donald Trump was selling. They didn't care about what he was selling. They didn't care what he said. They didn't care what he promised. And that's the truth. And the fact that they remained blue is the proof to that. They didn't buy into what he said. And let me tell you why I think that I would believe those people in that area more than I would believe anybody else. And that's because all those people in that area, they knew about Donald Trump also before television. They knew what kind of person he was before his television stint or even his political career or before he was involved with Miss America. They've always known him to be a shady businessman. They've always known that. And that's why those areas there are all blue, because they realize and they understand that Donald Trump does not care about anyone but himself. Okay? But this podcast isn't about bashing Donald Trump. There's been plenty of podcasts for that. There's going to be plenty more podcasts. Well, we don't know now. We really don't know now. You can speak out against this motherfucker and get the death penalty for all we know now. But people might say, "Oh, you're exaggerating," but we don't know that yet. Okay, we don't know that yet because one thing that every American in this country right now or alive right now has in common is that we've never experienced living under a dictator. We've never experienced that. Okay, we've never experienced a time in our recent history where we've had to wonder about what is really going to be the repercussions of the person that we have appointed the president. Because like I said before, most people, they get together and they say, all right, well, they elected this guy, we don't like this guy, now we got to put together something to vote this person out. And if we can, muster up something that is believable enough, then the country will go our way and, we will win the election. Well, now that the country has been thoroughly manipulated into voting for Donald Trump, they've voted for Donald Trump, and now we have to wait and see if he's going to deliver on, well, one, if he's going to deliver on the things that he says he's going to deliver on, the economy, et cetera, et cetera. But other than that, there are some pretty divisive things that came about during his campaign that now people are wondering, are these things going to take place? And now already, we have, one of the people standing up, I think the director of the ICE agency has stood up and said on day one, he told illegals to pack up because on day one, you're going home. And that's exactly how he said it. And that, to me, has now ushered in the days of the Wild West. We're going back to the Wild West here, and it's not going to be pretty. And there's going to be a lot of force that a lot of people didn't anticipate. There's going to be a lot of forcefulness that a lot of people didn't anticipate. Law enforcement now is going to be, everybody, you better keep your nose clean, because law enforcement now is about to be on steroids. It's about to be crazy around here. And I just don't have, for me personally, I don't have any hope for the future of America. I really don't. As many people say, oh, he's going to fix the economy, but so many other things are going to get bad. And honestly, I don't really think that he has a solid enough plan to fix our economy either. I think he's relying on his rich friends to help that along. And they will. The corporations, because those are the corporations now, people like Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos and all these people who have stake in this. Now they get to write policy here in the United States on how they think things should be. And now he's about to create a position for Elon. And I think that's just the most ridiculous thing that I've ever heard in my life. He wants to already get rid of, and he's talked about this before, he wants to get rid of birthright citizenship. So it doesn't matter if you were born here. That doesn't necessarily make you a citizen. And what that's for is immigrants who have come here illegally. And I hate to use that word, I really do, because people aren't illegal. They didn't come here through the channels that the United States mandates that you travel here for, regardless of whatever it is. They didn't go through that. And now they're here, but now they're pregnant and they've had children. And now these children are American citizens. He wants to eliminate that. And I don't agree with that at all. As a matter of fact, the whole thing at the border, the whole issue at the border, I really don't care about. And I'm just going to be honest about that. I don't give a shit about the border. I don't care who comes in here and who leaves here. I really don't. And the reason I don't care about it is because they make it seem that just because these people come from a different landmass or are a different skin complexion that they are different than you are somehow morally. They have different morals than you do. And that's just simply untrue. That's just simply not true. If anything, everybody on every landmass, we all have similar morals, than everybody, because we're all humans. We all have what's called human nature. We do things because we're human. Okay? There are some good humans and there are some bad humans. Oh, they're bringing fentanyl across the borders, but they're making fentanyl over here down the street from where I live at, and none of those dudes are from south of the border. You get what I'm saying? It's plenty of stuff here that we are hypocritical about, and no one really wants to call that out. They really don't. People don't want to call out the fact that Americans here can be extremely hypocritical and extremely self-righteous when it comes to wrongs and who's being wronged and the authority figures who are here to address those wrongs and correct those wrongs. We're big on that without turning the mirror around on ourselves. We are huge on that. We call the kettle black so often, it's not even funny. And I think that it's ridiculous. I think that it needs to stop. And I think that it should start being called out. So I'm going to take a quick fast break and get a drink of water because I didn't get this morning, and brush my teeth. And when I come back, we're going to unpack some more of this. This is the Darren Harris Podcast. I'll be right back.
Morning face. You get it when you don't sleep well. This is what happened to Linda.
Morning, guys.
Good morning. Ah, what is that thing?
It's me, Linda.
Oh my God, it talks! Run!
No, it's me, Linda from HR.
It looks hungry! Save the children! Save them! Stay back, I've got mace!
Ow, that went in my eyes.
Quit moving!
It's called beauty sleep for a reason. And there's never been a better time to get some.
Get 20% off IKEA Sultan mattresses. IKEA, love your home.
Hey, everybody, welcome back to the program. Talking about what we're going to do now with the United States. Well, I don't even know if I should call it that. I really don't. I think it's just the states of America, the states of this landmass that we call America. That's what we got going on here now. And I'm real uncertain. And so many of us are now. There are a lot of us that think that we're certain. There are a lot of us that are happy today. There are a lot of us that are joyous and think that things are for our country are going to get better under the democratic process and under the democratic a democratic government. That's what they really genuinely and they truly think that. They think that that is what they voted for. They think that they voted for a person that is true and just. They think that they voted for a person that has their best interest at heart. They think that they voted for a person that actually cares for them. They think that they voted for a person that cares about if they have health care or the economy. And he does, to a degree only, though. You see, that person only cares about the people in his immediate circle. And that's always been evident. But that's all right. You know, I'm not here to talk about him. I'm trying to talk about where the states and the citizens of this place should go. What should we do now? A lot of us are going to sit back and relax because, truth be told, you know, if you're a white American, you know, I mean, things could get bad for you, but things could also it's just going to be more of an inconvenience for you than anything. You're going to be okay. No matter what happens, you are going to be okay. You know, if this goes up and goes down, you're going to be all right. You know, for most white Americans, but for most Americans of color, most Americans that are immigrants, you know, or have, you know, a temporary immigrant status or whatever the case may be, there is a lot of uncertainty. There is a lot of fear. There is a lot of anxiety. There is a lot of sadness. There is a lot of anger. There is a lot of outrage. There is a lot of different emotions that are going on for these people, and they are at their worst. They're at their bottom. Some of these people are at really literally at the bottom of society. And now they have to worry about this one more thing. It's already illegal in the state of Florida to be homeless. Okay? They're going to start rounding up homeless people on the street. It's already illegal. And that's not right because the state of Florida doesn't make any concessions for any of these people to maybe even help them. You know, I mean, it really doesn't. Florida's a very every man for himself kind of state. And I know that because I live here. And I feel that because I experienced that. It's a very every man for himself kind of environment out here. And it's also an environment that has its tendencies to look down its nose at people that are less fortunate than they are, all the while claiming to be God-fearing people. I know that to be true because I experience it on a daily basis. I see it every day, just about everywhere I turn, especially in more rural communities that where religion has a tendency to be, well, very prominent. You know, I live in a community. It's a smaller community, and you know, people's religion here is I don't have to tell people. You know, it is overwhelmingly in favor of Jesus, which, you know, that to me is alarming because even still, the fact that they would choose the president that they chose does not represent the values of Christianity, regardless of how much they try to bend it into this. It just doesn't fit. It just does not fit. The phrase God and guns should not even be in the same sentence. I really wholeheartedly believe that. And the ideology is extremely hypocritical because they claim to be pro-life, but they covet instruments of death and destruction. And I just don't understand. I don't understand why it is. And they say that it's because it's their right to protect their sovereignty and it's their right to protect their home, and that's fine. And, you know, to each their own. But I've protected my home just fine, and I have never owned a gun in my entire life. But now, with the things that are the way that they are here in the country now, I feel like I have no choice other than to arm myself, because I think that, following, what's going to start happening, there's going to be a lot of armed conflict. And I just feel that. There's going to be a lot of armed conflict. And trust and believe, folks. Trust me and believe me. I wish and I hope, I really pray, I hope that I am wrong. I want to be wrong. I want to be wrong, man. I really do. I don't want this to be this way. I don't want it to be this way. I've already seen, I saved it. It's going to be on my social media, because I think I'm going to remix the video, even though I'm probably not going to get monetized for it, even though I'm monetized, because you can't put things you can't put things on Instagram that are divisive. But there's a video up of a man. There's a black woman. She's just standing there, and he is in her face telling her to do something, just do something. And he's got his hands folded like he wants to punch her in the mouth. And this guy's covered, and he's got his "Make America Great Again" hat on. And I think actually he is a Latin man, and he is saying this to a black woman. And it's somewhere in New Jersey. I recognized the bus. It was New Jersey Transit, but I was disgusted by it, because that is exactly what he has done. He has empowered a group of people that feel entitled to go out and do this to people and feel justified in doing it. And they're standing there around another Latin guy standing there with, his Trump shirt on, "Make America." He kind of took his hand and kind of pushed the guy out of the way. But you got the shirt on too, bro. It doesn't look like you support that. Do you support that? When you guys were standing online together celebrating Trump's victory, did you guys look and think that, did you look at that other guy and think that he was going to go over there and harass that woman or speak down to that woman or threaten that woman or challenge that woman? Or did you think he was going to go over there and do that? Because it looks to me like you really didn't think that he was going to do that. You thought he was just celebrating the win. You didn't think he was going to go over there and be a hostile man to a woman. So what did you do? You walked over there and you pushed him away. You pushed that dude away. Yeah, you did. You pushed him to the side. Yeah, that's exactly what you did, because I don't think that's what you signed up for. But on the contrary, my friend, that's exactly what you signed up for. And it's going to get worse. With that being said, there's something else I would like to address. Now, I follow a gentleman on social media, and, I respect a lot of what he has to say, and a lot of what he has to say about blackness, and he's extremely pro-black, but there's something that he did and I'm sure he doesn't care, and that's fine, bro. That's fine, but there's something that he did that I don't agree with, and I just think it was extremely divisive, and it contributed to the downfall of our democracy. And that person is Dr. Umar. And I really do. I respect a lot of what he has to say about blackness and black people standing up, but I do not respect him telling black people not to vote for Kamala Harris. I do not respect that. Him telling people, black and brown, black people mainly, but black and brown people, not to vote. And not to vote specifically for Kamala Harris. I resent that. And I know he doesn't care. And I know people who follow him and agree with his ideologies, who may listen to my podcast, may not necessarily agree with that. But I do. I absolutely resent that, because I think about all the people that died, man, that really, quite frankly, they died out here in these streets to gaining our right to vote around here, gaining our right to choose and make a difference, for one. But for two, we had an opportunity right here, man. We had an opportunity to change history for the better. I mean, in my personal opinion, to give the opportunity to somebody who I felt was worth it. And it's no, if you're a Trump supporter and you don't like the fact that I voted for Kamala, you're more than welcome to switch me off right now. But I voted for Kamala Harris because I believe that, she could have done some good. Do I think she would have been a great president? Probably not. You know what I'm saying? But I know she would have tried to do what she could for us. But Dr. Umar didn't think that. And what did he do in his platform of over 1 million people? Is he told them not to vote for her, man. He told them not to vote for this lady. Don't vote for her. So what did they do instead? They probably didn't vote. You know what I mean? A lot of people didn't vote. They didn't go to the polls. They just decided not to go. All right. I don't like Trump, but I'm not going to vote for either because Dr. Umar, he's came on consciousness. That brother, he got his head screwed on right. He got my best interest at heart. And newsflash, people, he don't either. But I'm not going to vote for her either. And that's what a lot of people said. And they went to bed and they woke up to a dictatorship. And they don't know what it's like to live in one of those. But I know some people who did know what it was like, and those were our ancestors 400 years ago. They knew what that was about. They knew exactly what that was about. They knew exactly what it was about to suffer. They knew exactly what it was about to do what they were told no matter what, as a grown person. They knew exactly what it was to starve, even though these people had complete control over their lives. They knew what it was to eat scraps and make things out of those scraps. And we have just set ourselves back almost to those times. And I think that us not showing up to the polls is a direct result of black people, or black and brown people. I liked Sean King too. I like that brother as well, but he was another one. Don't vote if you don't feel like it. I have another friend, close friend of mine. Don't vote. Don't feel like you have to vote. Yes, you should vote, and you should feel like you have to vote because of the people who died so that you could vote. But the problem is we don't feel that as a community. We don't feel that as a people. We don't feel the struggles that people went through. All we feel is what's going on today. But now we're getting ready to feel what's going to happen tomorrow because we didn't think about what happened yesterday. It's going to be rough here. And it's rough now. And that's what everybody's saying. It's rough. It's rough now. But what people aren't realizing is the reason it's rough is it's not because of Joe Biden. He did make some serious mistakes, but it's not because of Joe Biden. The reason it's rough here is really because of Donald Trump. It really is. And this is my philosophy. You don't have to agree with it, but history shows that usually the president that comes into office has to deal with what the last president who exited office, what he brought about in his 4-year term, right? We all can agree on that? I think that's what usually it is. Well, when Trump took office, he took office after 8 years of Barack Obama, which, particular people hated anyway. But nevertheless, Barack Obama did some positive things for our economy. Trump came in to a positive or an economy on the incline due to the policies of Barack Obama. A lot of people are going to sit up in here and say bullshit, and I'm going to call bullshit on your bullshit. Okay? So let's continue. Donald Trump takes office, right? He goes through COVID. We saw what happens there. Goes through the rest of his term. We saw what happened there. And doesn't win re-election. Okay? Doesn't win re-election. All right? He didn't win re-election. Instead, Barack Obama's vice president wins the presidency. And the reason why is because people overwhelmingly believe that Joe Biden was going to have the same politics as Barack Obama. And that's my thought on it. But everybody thought, which everybody was wrong. Everybody was wrong, and we're entitled to be wrong. Everybody was wrong, and Joe tried to do what he did, but Joe did what he did. And but the economy that he inherited was already on a decline, okay? Because he was inheriting Donald Trump's policies for our economy, and those things were on the decline. Now, things happened things happened to there was a lot of manipulation, man. There was a lot of covert opportunity. There was a lot of fucking, all right, we're going to do this and this is going to happen. And there was a lot of colluding. And I'm going to tell you how. But first, I'm going to take a break. This is the Darren Harris Podcast. I'll be right back.
Step behind the scenes with Backstage Pass, a podcast hosted by Gentry Thomas, where music legends, sports icons, and movie stars get real about their failures, hard work, and rise to the top. Recent episodes with Kevin Costner, George Lopez, Spike Lee, and Jay Leno, plus over 100 more available. Get your VIP credentials. Backstage Pass, hosted by Gentry Thomas. Download it wherever you get your podcasts.
Hey, you all, welcome back to the show. Talking about what we're going to do now. That's exactly what I'm talking about today. What we're going to do now. Before I went to the break, though, I was talking about how they did it and who they did it with. And one of the first people to call and congratulate Donald Trump besides the president was Vladimir Putin. And Donald Trump has made it no secret that he communicates with Putin, probably a little bit more than he tells people. But Vladimir Putin has communicated to Donald Trump and congratulated him, or to, in my opinion, welcome him to the fold, because he joins a list of other people in that position where they have absolute power. He joins Kim Jong-un, he joins Xi Jinping, and of course, he joins Vladimir Putin. Now there's Donald Trump at the top of, well, the newest member of that quartet. And right now, all of those men, they control the entire world. Doesn't matter what happens. Those four people solely control the world. What happens in the world? Think about that. 4 men control the world. Some people could have likened them to the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. You really probably could. But this is how, in my opinion, this went down. Donald Trump and Vladimir Putin are friends. Vladimir Putin went to war with the Ukraine. And they've been fighting their ass off. And just recently they inserted North Korea into the mix to go over there and mush down on the Ukraine. And as long as Joe Biden was funding this, he was getting a bad rap about it. He was being torn apart, funding this side right here while we're funding genocide on the other side. Torn apart, just torn to pieces. And now that Donald Trump has been named president, now they're talking about calming down now. Now they're going to calm it down. Now it's going to calm down. And the reason why is because Donald Trump is going to make Volodymyr Zelensky concede to Russia by force. And that's going to be bad for the Ukrainian people. And that's what I think, one of the things I think is on the agenda for the world stage is the fall of the Ukraine, the re-indoctrination of Ukrainian culture back into Russia. Because I wholeheartedly believe if she would have won, that Vladimir Putin would have attacked us, or found a way, or gotten some way, shape, form, or fashion to attack us. And I believe that. Now, you call me a conspiracy theorist or whatever you want, but I do wholeheartedly believe that was the plan. And that's why he fear-mongered so much. And okay, so now we're here, okay? And this is what I have to say. And like I said before, I have some friends. I have a lot of, some friends that have, expressed their support for Donald Trump and, asked me why are you going to vote for Kamala Harris? And when I explained to them why, they're like, oh, I don't know about that. Okay, fine. But I have some friends, like I said. But I want to say to those friends, and some of those friends may be listening to this podcast now, and if they don't, that's fine too. But I want to say this to those friends, and I'm going to say this with both balls in my entire chest. The first thing that he does that hurts this country, the first thing that he does, what are you going to say? What are you going to say to me? The first thing that he does to hurt my people or disenfranchise my people even further, because now I guess the amnesia about Project 2025 is worn off and it's back on the docket. And here we go. And as soon as they start repealing my civil rights or civil rights for my people, I want to know what you're going to say to me. Because I'm going to tell you right now, I'm sorry is not going to cut it. I didn't know is not going to do it either, because I was screaming it from the mountaintops. I was shouting it right in your face. It's not going to do it. The only thing that's going to save this or to save is for him to be every bit as good a president for every American citizen that he needs to be. To stand up and champion for black people, which I know he's not. Already off the bat, that's already off the docket. Look at Project 2025, already off the docket. You know what I'm saying? It's going to cut you down. It's going to take away things that you've worked for, take away things that we have worked tirelessly for, we have bled and died for. A lot of that stuff's just going to go away. All right? It's going to cut that shit out of here. And if you think you're going to get 4 years later to vote again, I'm sorry to tell you that I don't think that I think that's going to be a thing of the past. Everyone voting, I think that's I'm going to save the picture of myself with the "I voted" sticker on it, because I think no matter if you do vote, it's not going to matter. It's not going to matter anymore, because we are now a divided country. We are now a ultra divided country with an authoritarian as our president-elect. And there are some people that are on the side of this authoritarian and other people that are not on the side of this authoritarian. And God help us all, man. God help everyone. And to everyone who said, the reason why I voted for him is because I think that he's going to be great for the economy. That's good for you. Because I don't care about the economy. All right? Yep, I said it. And trust me, I know how much eggs cost. I know about inflation. I do my research. I know about all that stuff. But to be quite honest with you, I would pay $40 for eggs so my wife could retain the right to make decisions for her own body. And I'm sorry that a lot of men out here don't believe that that should be the case. A lot of men out here are the ones who made this happen. A lot of men who want women to be subservient to them. They got right on board with this. And this was another reason, even if it wasn't for the economy. It was for men to continue to have dominance over women and everything. Men. There was never going to be a woman president. There was never going to be a woman president. There will now, and now there never will be. There never will be. There's never going to be an opportunity for a woman to be the president. We had that twice. And 2 times, a man who lies for a living, a man who cheats for a living, did exactly that. He cheated America out of progress. And he lied us right into subservience. And in a few minutes, we're all going to see how that feels. For a few of us, it's going to feel good for a while. Yeah, this is great. But as it starts to constrict around here, it's going to get a little uncomfortable. And it's going to get uncomfortable for everyone. And I guarantee you, it's going to get uncomfortable for everyone. This is a bad mistake, America. This was a bad and tragic mistake. This is bad to put us here. Black folks, we need to wisen up. 20% of black men and 5% of black women voted for him. That's 25%. 25% of us, at least the ones that showed up to the polls. And this is another thing I want to talk about. When he ran against Joe Biden, and I saw this also, when he ran against Joe Biden got like something like 81 million votes. He got 77 million votes. 77 million votes. That's how much Trump got. Biden got 81 million votes. This time, Trump got 76 million votes. So he did not as good as he did last time. But Kamala only got 66 million votes. The reason she lost is because we didn't show up. We didn't show up. That's why she lost. So then we go back to cats like Dr. Umar. I tell you, don't vote. Don't vote. Don't vote for Kamala, even. You know, and I feel like you helped this. You helped. And that's why I'm sorry, Dr. Umar. Like I said before, I know you don't care, and I know it doesn't faze you, and it don't matter. You got what you got, and you talk how you talk, and King Kong consciousness, brother. But I feel like, man, did they pay you, bro? Did they pay you, man? Did they pay you to tell us not to vote? I mean, and also I want to ask you this also. Since now, where do we go from here, brother? Huh? Where do we go from here, my man? I mean, where do we go, bruh? Where do black people go now? And I'm speaking for people of colored. I mean, people of, brown people too. But I'm really speaking for black folks too, man. Where do we go from here, man? Doc? Huh? Tell me, Doc Umar. Where do we go from here? You can DM me and tell me if you want to. I don't have a PhD. You might school me on some shit, but you can come on my show and explain it to me, bro. I really would love it. I mean, for real, man. I mean, where do we go from here? Because I feel that was our opportunity here to set a lot of wrongs right here in America. I feel like that opportunity was here because I don't think that we're ever going to get that opportunity again. And I don't think that you saw it that way. I think everybody still sees it as in 4 years, we get to make another decision. But no, we don't. In 4 years, we don't get to make another decision. In 4 years, we get another conservative president or a continuation of what we have now. And that's my strong belief. And I do hope that I'm wrong. I do hope that we do get another shot at democracy. And I do hope that Democrats, if there is such a thing anymore, I do hope that Democrats learn to be more inclusive and learn to do the things that you say that you're going to do for the people who support your party. I do hope that. If not, then the Democrats can kiss my ass just as much as these other cats out here spewing this rhetoric. And to get back to my friends, besides what you're going to tell me, I want to add this to it also. The first thing that he does that hurts my people, and I'm just going to call it out like that. The first thing that he does to hurt black people, and I don't care if you're black, I don't care if you're white, I don't care if you're Latin, I don't care where you're from. I don't care where you're from. I don't care where you're from. The first thing that they repeal that hurts black people, I will never talk to you again. And I swear on both my balls, my whole chest, and my eyes. I will never talk to you again. So, for my sake, not yours, for my sake, because I love y'all, man, I really do. I love y'all, man. And I think some of y'all know who I'm talking to. I love you guys. I really do, man. You know, we've been through some shit together. But the first thing that he repeals that hurts black people, I will never talk to you again. I want to thank my mother and my father for giving me my mouth and my voice to speak up and say what I feel and not pull any punches and shout it from the mountaintops and stand up behind it. I want to thank both my parents for that. I want to thank my dad especially for that. To fight for what's right, for what's morally right. I want to thank my dad for that. I want to thank my wife for encouraging me, because a lot of times I don't feel like I can. And she always makes me feel like I can. She lights a fire underneath me. She understands my passion, and she understands my love for my people, my love for her people, my love for all people, and my love for my country. And she enables me to do this. I want to thank my producer, Jesse Yandel, who is my best friend in the world. Jesse Yandel is a blonde-haired, blue-eyed, 6-foot-tall white guy. And the other day, he said something the other day while we were talking. We were talking about what's going to happen now. You know, and if things get dangerous here. He told me I could come to West Virginia, where he is. And I said, well, West Virginia, I don't feel safe there either. It's not friendly to us. And he said, hey, man, I will hide you in my house and I will die right alongside you. And I want to thank you for that, man. I really do. You are my best friend. And you know, there are people out there who I love a lot, that I call, you know, very close to me. But especially in this situation right here, especially in this situation, only you have been that person to say, hey, man, I don't care what the fuck happens here in America. I don't care who the fuck's the president. It's going to be me and you, guns a-blazing, till the end, if it has to be. And I feel the exact same way about you, man. And I love you and I appreciate you. Thank you for being the producer of my show. Thank you for being my best friend. And thank you for all the love over the years that you have shown me. And also thank you for, you know, I mean, in lots of situations, plenty of situations, standing up for me verbally in front of everyone. Without batting an eye. I also want to say thank you to other friends that have done that for me. Friends like Nicholas Gregory. I have a friend named Nick Gregory that we went to a deli in New York City, and we were supposed to meet. We met for lunch, and I got a sandwich, and I went and sat down, and he got his sandwich, and we sat down, and we got the same sandwich. And I looked at my sandwich, and my sandwich looked like ass, and his sandwich was beautiful. And he said, "What's that?" I said, "It's an Italian hero." He said, "This is an Italian hero." And without saying anything, he grabbed my sandwich and he walked back up there to that dude behind the counter and he said, "You make my friend's sandwich exactly like you made mine. And you treat him with dignity and respect." Because I didn't understand that this guy was just throwing my sandwich together. But Nick did. And I want to say thank you for that. And that's the kind of thing that we need here. But that's the kind of thing that is being opposed and fought here. I want to say thank you to Gentry Thomas for having this platform, for allowing me to have this platform, or giving me this platform. I really do appreciate it, G. I do. Because I know I talk about a lot of controversial shit. And I know I say a lot of controversial things and a lot of things that might offend people, or a lot of things that might cause people to think a particular way. And, you know, I do appreciate it. You know, you giving me this opportunity or this space to say what I got to say. And I want to thank my listeners, man. That's the last thing last but not least, I want to thank everybody, man. I want to thank you guys for sticking with my show. And thanks to you, it is growing. And, you know, I remember when it was 7 listeners, and just the other day, I got told that I have 4,000 unique listeners every week. And I just want to say thank you to all the new listeners. I want to say thank you to all the old listeners that stick around. And I want to say thank you to everybody that listened and maybe I wasn't your bag and you moved on. I do appreciate you still. And because you helped me get here. And not that I'm any place spectacular. I'm just, you know, I'm just trucking right along here. You know, me and my piddly old podcast. But, you know, trust and believe that I'm doing the best I can to give you quality content. You know, things that you can think about. Okay? So, until next week, folks, stay safe out there. Good luck. Peace.
You've been listening to the Deron Harris Podcast. Subscribe to the show, give a good rating, and everything you need to know is at DeronHarris.com.